Hi, there is a massive difference when you're stretching the skin by doing facial massage and doing fascia work, where we're actually doing a grip and glide, releasing any tightness and any stuck fascia glue onto the bone. So in today's video, we're going to do some amazing fascia techniques to allow for more space from unleashing the fascia glue to allow for more oxygen, nutrients, and also detoxification. This will really improve any sagging skin rather than doing facial massage superficially. So hi, I'm Ali. I've been a facialist for the last 8 years and I'm really passionate to help you on your skincare journey. So first things first, you want to start off with clean skin. Now I am using a little bit of facial oil, but you want something which isn't too oily. You don't want to be slipping and sliding around. Just something so you've got a little bit of grip and glide, but so we're not also stretching at the skin. Now you only need a tiny little bit of the oil here, rubbing it into the fingers and just gently glide and press all along the facial area by the jawbone, front and behind the ears, and just down by the SCM muscle down to the collarbone. So with the pads of the fingers, I always like to start where the collarbone is just above. We've got indentations. Take the pads of the fingers and just give these a few gentle presses. Now what this does, this really does open up the gateways for the lymphatic drainage. Now we're going to be working on 3 parts of the fascia system here. So we're going to be working on the jawline area, which I know lots of people have a lot of problems with, sagging skin under the jawline, jowls, nasolabial folds. Then going to be working on the zygomatic here, so we're going to be releasing tight fascia along this bone here. This will really also help with the lower part of the face and also around the eye area for those eye bags. And then we're going to be working on the scalp area. If the scalp is nice and loose, everything else lifts up. If it's tight, again with everything else, it drags down. So first of all, starting with the jawline, we're taking one hand as an anchor, taking the other finger as a hook, and just gently placing onto the chin area here. And you just want to melt the finger into the skin, and then just very gently and slowly working our way, light to medium touch, all along the jawline, making sure the rest of the face and the whole face is nice and relaxed. And what we're doing here, we're unstitching any tight fascia which is stuck to the bone. And if this fascia is stuck to the bone, it won't allow for nutrients and oxygen and detoxification. Now we're not stretching at the skin, we're just gently fixing on and unsticking any of that tight fascia here. And this is why it's important to also have an oil, but not to have it so it's too oily. Just so we are doing a really nice grip and glide here. And you want to work slowly all the way along the mandible until you get to the end. And I like to give a little wiggle at the end to really help with lymphatic drainage. And then let's start on the other side. Finger as a hook, taking the other finger here. And then so one placed, one as a hook, gently melting in. And I like to do a nice deep belly breath in for 4 and out for 6 to really help with oxygen and blood flow as well. And then just very, very slowly pinning down with one finger and doing a really great fascia decompression, myofascia decompression here. Again, working very, very slowly all the way along that jawline and the mandible. Again, we're not dragging at the skin. And I like to do these 3 or 4 times a week. It really does help, again, with nutrients and detoxification. So we've worked on the jawline area, so let's work on the zygomatic here now. So again, placing one hand as an anchor, taking one finger, and we're going to work slightly under the cheekbone here. You could just take one finger if you find it easier. Gently pressing, holding, melting into the skin. And very slowly under this cheekbone, you want to glide all the way along. Again, but unsticking any fascia here. This will really help again with the puffiness under the eyes and also the cheeks here. And work very slowly along until we get to the top of the ear, and then on the other side, again, finger as a hook. I prefer to use my finger as a hook because the majority of us have long nails. If you use a finger, you'll end up digging your nails in. And again, we're just working under this cheekbone very slowly. Now, I'd really recommend doing this also in a mirror so you can see what you're doing, so you can see that you're not pressing down and dragging at any skin. And also, if you have any tender points, you can always ease off the pressure of the finger as well. And working all the way along. Just give it a little wiggle. Now we're going to work along the hairline today, and then we're going to do a little bit of scalp release here. So again, placing our hand on sort of the middle part of the top of the forehead, finger as a hook, gently placing down. Now there's not much fat padding here, so you don't need to be too heavy-handed. And again, nice gentle belly breaths. And then melting into the skin, and then just releasing any tight fascia. Going very, very slowly, and we're heading towards the center, from the center of the forehead towards that temple area. And although we're working down, we're not dragging the skin down because we've got our anchor with our finger. Give a little wiggle, and then on the other side, finger as a hook, and then working our way down. Now the fascia is a connective tissue within the whole of the body, like a structural webbing, if you like almost like a spider's web. And so we want to be releasing this. If it gets tight, it gets very restricted, but also again, it can stick to the bone areas, so like fascia glue. So you really want to be really unsticking this. Very nice natural technique. And then placing our fingers and thumb by the side of the ears, fingers into the hair. Let's just work backwards and forwards here. Again, this is a really important one because it literally holds everything up rather than dragging anything down. But if this is quite tight, it will drag literally the face down. So you want to be moving backwards and forwards. And you'll know how tight your fascia is on your scalp by how easy it is to move. If it's quite easy, you know, it's fairly unrestricted, but if you're hardly moving it, you just have to take a bit more time until it's nicely released. I'm working in another motion now, again, because then round circular motions, because again, as I've just previously said, the fascia is connective tissue and it is all different directions. And then the other way. Just gently release. Crazy hair after that, but it's fine. And so we've done some really great fascia decompression to really help that fascia glue on the jawline, the zygomatic, and then also on the scalp here and the head. So after that, we're taking our fingers, interconnecting them, and just very lightly glide down from the forehead towards the temples. This is a feather-light touch. And what we're doing here is removing toxins and waste within the lymph, which is also very close to the surface of the skin. And then under the eyes. This will also help with any puffiness and where that bone is. Zygomatic. Okay, just working out. And then from the jawline, lifting up all along the mandible as well. Towards the ears. Feather-light touch. And then thumb placed under the jawline, fingers above. Working any of the fascia, but also removing toxins and waste, and we have plenty of lymph nodes underneath this area. And then front of the ears, where we have plenty of lymph nodes, and behind the ears, where we have plenty of lymph nodes. And then let's just work at the occipital bone, so the bottom of the head, top of the neck, where we hold lots of tension. It's really nice to give it a lovely massage out. And then when the fingers are touching, one hand at a time, gliding down the big SCM muscle down to the collarbone, and on the other side. And then from the chin all the way down, where our collarbone is just above, we've got those indentations again, our starting point. So taking the pads of the fingers again, if you can just give those a few gentle presses, and this will release all the toxins and waste into the body, ready for elimination. So I'd really recommend a nice glass of warm water after this to really help hydrate the fascia and also with lymphatic drainage. Please consider subscribing, liking and sharing, and also comment down below and tell me how you found today and if there's any other fascia techniques you'd love me to share with you. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, bye.